Xiao Yin, third brother, alliance chief? Many people quickly became stunned when they saw the black-clothed young man suddenly appear on the wall. A moment later, a wild joy abruptly surged. Many different forms of addresses suddenly reverberated over the fortress. Although the young man appeared to have matured after a couple of years, his extremely familiar face was still recognized by many people in an instant. Xiaoyan merely grinned when he heard these joyous exclamations. He was just about to speak when his brows were slightly lifted. A figure appeared behind him in a ghost-like fashion. A sharp palm wind ruthlessly slammed toward the Xiaoyan's back. Be careful. The sudden sneak attack caused many people to be shocked, causing many of them to hurriedly warn him. Bang! A muffled sound suddenly appeared when the cry appeared. Everyone's faces became stunned when they saw the expert from the Profound Lion sect, who was at the Dozun class, fly backwards without any reason. Blood was spat out of that person's mouth. His eyes were filled with shock. He couldn't even see when Xiao Yin had attacked. Xiao Yin did not even turn around as he injured an elite Dozun into vomiting blood and withdrawing. He lifted his head and glanced around, paying attention to where the Yin Alliance was being overwhelmed. He gently waved his hand. Begin the offensive. Bang! An earth-shaking energy undulation suddenly erupted from the air a short distance away after Xiao Yin waved his hand. Rushing wind sound appeared one after another, and everyone present saw dozens of figures stepping through the air in the sky. They appeared like falling stars as they appeared above the wall within a couple of flashes. Elite Dozuns? The strong individuals from both the Yin Alliance and the Profound Lion sect suddenly inhaled a breath of cool air when these dozens of figures appeared above the wall, because they had discovered that this large group consisted of only elite Dozuns. What a frightening lineup! Xiao Ding, Haibuodong, and the rest stared at the human figures suspended in the sky with stunned expressions. There were at least 30 people present. In other words, there were at least 30 Dozuns. Such a terrifying lineup could dominate any faction in the northwestern region. This person, it has been a short few years since we last met. Just what level has he reached? Many eyes looked at the black-clothed young man hugging little Xiao Xiao. Some shock surged within their hearts, after which a joy from having escaped a calamity quietly filled their hearts. They were still clearly aware that the Profound Lion sect was extremely powerful, but their hearts inexplicably felt safer when they looked at Xiao Yin. Ha ha, everyone, let's attack. Allow us taste just how strong the Dozuns of the northwestern part of the continent are. The eldest brother laughed toward the sky. He stepped through empty air and rushed toward the experts from the Profound Lion sect. The remaining experts behind him also laughed and shot forward. Monstrous dochis shook the fortress. Xiao Yin merely smiled at the changing situation. He withdrew his eyes and looked at the girl in his arms. She had been staring at him with her large, dark black eyes for a long time. He softly asked, "What is your name?" "Xiao Xiao." The little girl stared at Xiao Yin. Although she wasn't familiar with his appearance, a special feeling of being related, which originated from her bloodline, caused her to possess no caution toward Xiao Yin. Her reply was forthright but timid. An unusual feeling surged within Xiao Yan's heart when he saw the cute little Xiao Xiao. He smiled and pinched her little nose before asking, "Do you know who I am?" Little Xiao Xiao seriously stared at Xiao Yin. A moment later, she finally used an extremely soft whisper to reply, "Are you father?" The soft word was transmitted into Xiao Yan's ear, causing his heart to violently tremble. A feeling surged around his body like floodwater. An extremely brilliant and warm smile slowly bloomed on his face. "Good girl. Lad, you are finally willing to return." A joyous loud cry suddenly resounded while Xiao Yin was hugging little Xiao Xiao. He turned his head and watched a man rapidly roll his wheelchair over. Some excitement surged in his heart as he laughed. Big brother, second brother, how are the both of you? You. Xiao Li's originally dark and cold face was currently filled with joy. He charged over and violently pulled Xiao Yan into a big hug. His hand forcefully patted Xiao Yan's shoulder. Are you fine? Xiao Li looked at Xiao Yan in front of him. Even someone as cold as him became involuntarily excited at this moment. He started to laugh. Xiao Yan nodded. Everyone had experienced some changes over these few years. However, the only thing that had difficulty changing was this relationship between brothers. It's good that you are back. It is still not too late. Xiao Ding studied Xiao Yan, who was momentarily speechless. Xiao Ding smiled as he commented on the situation. Ha ha, Alliance Chief, you have really performed your role as a hands-off leader very well. Another few figures hurried over while Xiao Yan nodded. The familiar laughter caused Xiao Yan to feel startled. He lifted his head and saw many familiar faces. Ice Emperor Haibuodong, Fa Ma, and the Pill King of the Jiama Empire, Gu He. Xiao. A red figure rushed over while Xiao Yan was cupping his hands to these old familiar figures. She pulled Xiao into her embrace. After which, her pretty eyes continued to sweep over Xiao's body, afraid of even the slightest mishap occurring to her. Xiao Yan studied this bewitching woman in front of him. She still appeared delicate and voluminous despite wearing tight-fitting red armor. A gentleness also appeared in his eyes as he softly called out, Kai Lin. Kai Lin's lovely figure stiffened when she heard Xiao Yan's voice. She finally lifted her head. Her pretty eyes were somewhat complicated as they stared at the black-clothed young man in front of her. She immediately rubbed little Xiao's head while she remarked, I thought that you wouldn't return. Kai Lin's voice contained some anger while it also hid some grievances. During these years, she, as a woman, had to not only raise this child, she also had to develop the Yin Alliance. She had worried over all these matters, and these burdens had all been left to her by this man. Third brother, sister-in-law has had a hard time during these years. You should not let her down. Otherwise, I and your big brother will be the first to oppose. Xiao Li patted Xiao Yan's shoulder. He spoke in a low tone when he saw Kai Lin. That's right. We have Kai Lin to thank for all these years. Haibuodong and the others by the side nodded in agreement. Xiao Yan was quiet. He searched Kai Lin's tightly curled lips, and an apology suddenly surged in his heart. He took 2 steps forward, extended his hand, and gently hugged that soft, delicate, snake-like waist. He ignored her struggle and pulled her into an embrace before he softly said, I'm sorry. It has been hard on you. Even someone as strong as Kai Lin sensed her nose turning runny when she heard the soft voice beside her ear. Regardless of how strong she acted in the eyes of the public, she was still a woman. Moreover, she was a woman who had settled down. Her heart would inevitably feel some grievances when her man was away for many years. But these grievances suddenly vanished upon hearing these 2 soft sentences. Do not think that I will let you off because of this. Even though the grievances in her heart had disappeared, the stubborn Kai Lin still grit her teeth and snapped. Her cold yet pretty face turned a little flush as she freed herself from Xiao Yan's hand. She was an extremely strong person in the eyes of everyone from the Yin Alliance. Hence, she was unwilling to be seen in Xiao Yan's embrace like his little woman. Leave everything else to me. Xiao Yan smiled before gently pinching little Xiao's small face. He said, Good daughter, you must follow your mother. Father, do your best. Little Xiao nodded and spoke in a soft, timid manner. Be careful. There are many elite dozuns on the other side, Kai Lin said with some worry. Xiao Yan smiled and stepped into the air. He slowly walked away from the wall while his eyes glanced at the large golden-haired man. That man was gloomily staring at him a short distance away. You are Xiao Yan, the Alliance Chief of the Yin Alliance? Tian stared intently at Xiao Yin. He had watched Xiao Yin hug Kai Lin earlier, and an intense jealousy rose within his heart. Even though he had yet to take the mysterious Yellow Fortress, he had already thought of Kai Lin as his. How could he endure her being tainted by others? Xiao Yin acted as though he did not hear Tian's cold cry. Tian immediately became furious upon seeing Xiao Yin ignore him. The large blade in his hand suddenly hacked down in a ruthless fashion. 1,000-foot-long blade glow ruthlessly slashed at Xiao Yan's head. Be careful. He is the sect chief of the Profound Lion sect, an elite 6-star Dozun. Kai Lin and the others on the wall hurriedly warned Xiao Yin when they saw him ignore Tian. The golden blade glow ruthlessly struck Xiao Yan's body after everyone's warning. However, the unusually powerful attack failed to force Xiao Yin back even half a step. How is this possible? Tian was not the only one stunned when he saw this. Even Kai Lin's group had completely astounded faces. Tian's attack was something even a 7-star Dozun did not dare to receive head-on without putting up any defenses. Xiao Yin gently flicked his sleeve as his palm was slowly swung toward Tian. A frighteningly hot wind penetrated through the air and gathered into a large fire hand in front of Tian with lightning-like speed. It slammed into Tian's body. Grug. As the palm slammed down, the Doqi defenses lingering around Tian's body appeared paper-thin. They were destroyed in an instant, and a frightening wind poured into his body, causing him to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. The clothes on his body were blasted into ashes while his body transformed into a fireball that violently flew backwards. Finally, his collided with the ground. Hiss! The experts from both the Yin Alliance and the Profound Lion sect suddenly inhaled a deep breath of chilly air. The sect chief of the Profound Lion sect was unable to receive even a strike from Xiao Yin. Ninth Tianzuan, show yourself? Xiao Yin lifted his head after randomly finishing off Tian. His eyes locked on the distant black fog, and a faint voice suddenly resounded over the sky like thunder. After this cold cry was made, the black fog that spread over the distant sky fluctuated before scattering apart. A blue figure slowly stepped through the air. Within a couple of flashes, the figure appeared 1,000 feet from Xiao Yin. I was wondering who it was. It is actually you, a homeless stray. Unexpectedly, you possessed the courage to return to this place. In that case, I will also capture you and bring you back with the rest. The ninth Tianzuan's eyes looked at Xiao Yin in a chilly manner as he coldly laughed. I'm afraid that you do not possess the qualifications. Xiao Yin smiled. If he had met this ninth Tianzuan before entering the heavenly tomb, things might have been a little troublesome. However, just Xiao Yan's current strength was no weaker than his. If they were to exchange blows, Xiao Yin was confident he could force the ninth Tianzuan to remain here forever. Xiao Yin has never feared anyone within the same level. What arrogant words! You really think that you can be haughty with the growth in your strength. Today, I'm afraid that you won't be able to leave this place. The ninth Tianzuan coldly cried out. However, he did not attack immediately. He was no fool. He could tell that Xiao Yan's strength had improved by leaps and bounds because he had seriously injured Tian with just one strike. Hence, he would naturally be a little careful, given his cautious nature. Qi. The black fog behind the ninth Tianzuan rippled after his cold voice sounded. 3 figures immediately rushed over and stood beside the ninth Tianzuan. Their sinister eyes swept over Xiao Yin as they laughed in a strange manner. It is actually this brat. It is rumored that our Hall of Souls has failed many times to capture him. Why don't we act together and capture him? We will be given great credit if we can bring this brat back. Kai Lin and the others on the wall were startled when they saw the sudden appearance of these people. They could sense the frightening auras of these 4 people. Xiao Yan's eyes swept over the three black-robed old men who had suddenly appeared. These three were clearly experts from the Hall of Souls. Their strengths were also around that of an 8-star Dozun. Thus, they were relatively strong. It seemed that these were the 4 8-star Dozun experts mentioned in the information Xiao Yan had obtained. Haha, those from the Hall of Souls always like to do such things. A loud laugh was transmitted from behind Xiao Yan when the three black-robed old men appeared. They were the three elders who Yao Lao had hired. Due to the frightening lineup that Xiao Yan had brought with him, the Yin Alliance had already stabilized the situation. Those enemy experts who had charged onto the wall had been eliminated. The remaining individuals from the Profound Lion sect had lost a great amount of their vigor from earlier because of the sudden appearance of these dozens of elite Dozuns. They did not dare to randomly charge over at the moment. The three elders managed to find the time to come to Xiao Yan's aid after stabilizing the situation. The three of them were quite well known in the Central Plains region. Hence, they were not afraid of the Hall of Souls, so their tones were a little rude. 3 elders? It is unexpected that you old farts who refuse to die have also come. Looks like you have really lived too long. Even your brains are diluted. The expression of the 9th Tianzuan in the sky sank when he saw the 3 elders. He immediately let out a cold laugh. From the looks of it, he had clearly heard of the elders. Haha, other people might be afraid of your Hall of Souls, but we are not. This world is so huge. Do you really think that your Hall of Souls can dominate it? The eldest brother curled his mouth. He did not pay heed to this threat from the 9th Tianzuan. Junior Pavilion Chief, this noisy old fellow will be left to you. The 3 of us will take care of the 3 others. What do you say? Xiao Yan slightly smiled and immediately nodded upon hearing the words of the eldest brother. The 3 elders were also 8-star Dozuns. It would not be a problem for them to deal with 3 experts of similar strength. Haha, in that case, let's see who will be able to finish off their opponent first. The oldest brother loudly laughed. Do Chi surged out of his body in all directions. The second and third brothers followed close behind. After which, they separated and rushed to attack the other 2 black-robed elders. Humph, since all of you wish to deliver yourself to us, we shall accept your offers. Those 3 black-robed elders chuckled in a sinister tone when they saw the 3 old brothers rushing over. Dark fog surged out of their bodies as they moved, transforming into 3 black balls of smoke that heavily collided with the brothers. Immediately, frightening energy fluctuations swiftly expanded. The 9th Tianzuan frowned when he saw the 6 individuals engage in a fight within an instant. He had not expected Xiao Yan to bring so many experts from the Central Plains. Our mission this time around is to capture all the members of the Xiao clan. Looks like we must first deal with this person today. A glint flashed over the 9th Tianzuan's eyes before a ferocious glow appeared in them. He clenched his hand without any unnecessary words, and dark, chilly air swiftly gathered. It finally turned into a layer of black crystals that covered his right hand. At the same time, his foot stepped through empty air, and his body disappeared in a strange manner in front of many gazes. What swift speed! The faces of the Yin Alliance experts on the wall became anxious when they saw the 9th Tianzuan disappearing in a flash. Such speed is still insufficient. Xiao Yan in the sky merely shook his head. He waved his hand to strike the empty space beside him with lightning-like speed. An illusory figure immediately appeared from the spot where the wind from his palm reached. A dark and chilly palm violently clashed with Xiao Yan's hand. Bang! A wind containing a dark chill mixed with a strong heat before erupting from the point of contact as both palms clashed. Space itself was shaken until it became distorted. 8-star Dozun? The powerful wind erupted and the 9th Tianzuan's body appeared, but his expression changed because of the hot and cold forces that were erupting around his arm like floodwater. A groan was emitted from his throat as he was forced back over a dozen steps. Shock immediately surged onto his face. After an initial exchange, he had suddenly realized that the current Xiao Yin had reached the 8th star of the Dozun class. The 9th Tianzuan clearly remembered when he met with Xiao Yin half a year ago. Back then, Xiao Yin had just reached the 5th star. Although he had sensed that Xiao Yan's aura had soared, he had not expected this great increase to reach such a terrifying extent. The experts of the Yin Alliance on the wall erupted into a cheer when they saw Xiao Yin had obtained the upper hand in a head-on clash with the 9th Tianzuan. A shock that could not be hidden also appeared in their eyes. By being able to force the 9th Tianzuan, who was an 8-star Dozun, back, the strength of the current Xiao Yin must have reached that of an 8-star Dozun. Ugh, Xiao Yin had only just reached the Do Huang class when he left back then. It has only been a few short years, yet his strength has soared to such an extent. We have no choice but to admire him. Hai Buodong and the rest faced each other. He helplessly sighed a moment later. During these years, he had relied on the medicinal pills accumulated by the Yin Alliance to break through to the Do Zone class after experiencing much difficulty. Originally, he thought that he was fairly quick, but there was no way for them to even compare with Xiao Yin. It has been over half a year since we last met, yet you have not even improved a little. Xiao Yin shook his head when he saw the 9th Tianzuan's shock. Xiao Yan's strength had reached the peak of an 8-star Dozun. The 9th Tianzuan was now a little weaker than Xiao Yin. Back then, Xiao Yin had already been able to engage the 9th Tianzuan in an intense battle with just the strength of a 5-star Dozun. Now, this so-called 9th Tianzuan no longer posed even the slightest threat to him. Brat, it is still too early for you to be pleased. The 9th Tianzuan's face immediately turned a little green when he heard Xiao Yan's words. A seal was formed by his hand with lightning-like speed as a muffled cry was emitted from his throat. The dark, chilly air around them swiftly gathered into many thousand-foot-tall energy palms after this cry sounded. Palm wind whistled and furiously struck at Xiao Yin from all directions. Faced with the 9th Tianzuan's powerful attack, Xiao Yin stepped through empty space and acted like he was taking a leisurely stroll. Many afterimages appeared, causing the many large energy palms to miss. Some of the large energy palms that could not be dodged were forcefully shattered with a flick of Xiao Yan's wrist. Xiao Yin stepped through empty air in front of the countless number of gazes present. He stepped closer and closer to the 9th Tianzuan. Regardless of how the red-faced 9th Tianzuan tried to block Xiao Yin, he was unable to cause Xiao Yin to pause for even a moment. Watching this battle, everyone understood that Xiao Yan's strength had far surpassed the 9th Tianzuan's strength. Bang! A purple-brown flame rose in Xiao Yan's hand and forcefully shattered an enormous energy palm that was approaching his body before his footsteps finally came to a stop. He lifted his head and looked at the 9th Tianzuan, whose expression was a little pale. A faint smile appeared. They were both 8-star Dozuns, but Xiao Yan's strength had surpassed him by many times. Adding the ancient insect emperor cloth and the dragon phoenix ancient armor, the 9th Tianzuan's attacks were no longer able to harm him. This battle, which was on a completely different level, did not have any meaning from the beginning. He is not just at the 8th star. He is at the peak of the 8th star. This person is improving at an impossibly rapid pace. I can no longer match him. Regardless of how ugly the 9th Tianzuan's expression was when he watched Xiao Yin shatter his attacks, he had to admit that his current strength was no match for Xiao Yin. He decisively clenched his teeth and stomped a foot on empty air, causing his body to suddenly withdraw. Since you are already here, why do you need to leave? Xiao Yin grinned after seeing the 9th Tianzuan flee. Xiao Yan's body slowly disappeared, and he was already behind 9th Tianzuan when he appeared. His right hand gently slapped the empty air, and a cluster of black light swiftly spread while accompanied by a faint destructive aura. The ninth Tianzuan's expression suddenly became pale as he sensed the annihilation aura that spread over with lightning-like speed. With Xiao Yan's current strength, unleashing a Tian-class Do skill like the Great Heaven Creation Palm was like the sickle of a death god for the ninth Tianzuan. The ninth Tianzuan suddenly lowered his head while his heart was covered with an aura of death. He looked at the ground below, and his voice sharply cried out, "Fourth brother, save me." Xiao Yan was a little startled when he heard the ninth Tianzuan's sudden screech. His peripheral vision caught sight of the ground below that had been dyed red with fresh blood. From the looks of it, this Hall of Souls did indeed have an even stronger hidden expert who had not attacked. Regardless of whether there is a helper, I will kill this person first. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered. A ferocious glow flashed an instant later as he abruptly pushed his hand forward. The rate at which the dark black light circle spread suddenly soared. The ninth Tianzuan was terrified when he sensed the frightening energy behind him. Do Qi erupted from his body before he swung back, but no matter how he retaliated, the spreading speed of the black light did not slow by even a little. Fourth brother. It was futile regardless how the ninth Tianzuan struggled. His face also became void of color as a sharp cry once again sounded. Bang! The ground violently trembled after the second scream from the ninth Tianzuan sounded. It was possible to see the ground swiftly crumble apart. Within the blink of an eye, a deep abyss that was a couple thousand feet long appeared in front of many stunned gazes. Following the appearance of this deep abyss, a nauseating bloody scent surged out in all directions, and some incomparably sharp screeches were vaguely emitted. The appearance of the deep abyss surprised Xiao Yan in the sky. It was unexpected that such a being was hiding under the ground. It seemed that the people from the Hall of Souls had come prepared. Although Xiao Yan was surprised in his heart, his reaction was not slow. He pushed his right hand forward and a black light circle merged with the ninth Tianzuan's left arm like lightning. Ah! A miserable cry was immediately emitted from the ninth Tianzuan's mouth after his left arm was dragged into the black light. An unblockable tearing force surged out of the light circle. In an instant, it tore the ninth Tianzuan's arm until it became blurry. If he had not unleashed all of his Do Qi to block the tearing force, his arm would have turned into dust at that moment. Even though it didn't instantly disappear, the tearing force still swiftly entered his arm and caused his muscles, blood vessels, and even bones to swiftly explode and deform. Humph! Xiao Yan coldly cried out after having successfully grabbed the ninth Tianzuan and suddenly clenched his hand. The suction force within the light circle suddenly surged and pulled the rest of the ninth Tianzuan's body toward it. Crack! The ninth Tianzuan's heart was at a completely shock after having sensed Xiao Yan's intentions. He clenched his teeth, curled his hand into a blade, and chopped off his own arm. Trying to escape? Xiao Yan was startled when he realized that the ninth Tianzuan was this ruthless. He immediately laughed in his heart. The black light circle once again sped up and grew a couple more times before once again approaching the ninth Tianzuan. This caused the ninth Tianzuan's speed to be severely limited. At this moment, he finally sensed just how frightening this great heaven creation palm was. When Xiao Yan was only a 4-star Dozun, the ninth Tianzuan was able to rely on his strength, which had far surpassed Xiao Yan's, to block the great heaven creation palm. However, their levels were similar now. He no longer possessed any strength to resist it. Swoosh! Some despair surfaced in the ninth Tianzuan's eyes before a reaction finally occurred in the enormous abyss below. The rushing sound of wind appeared as a 1,000-foot-large bloody glow erupted. It agglomerated into a blood dragon that emitted a roar as it ruthlessly charged toward Xiao Yan with a shocking momentum. Xiao Yan's expression changed as he sensed the ripple that was suddenly transmitted from below, but he did not turn around to receive the attack. Instead, His eyes were dark and cold as they stared at the ninth Tianzin's face, which had revealed a joy when this attack appeared. He coldly smiled and pushed his hand forward again, and a black light circle rushed out with lightning-like speed. Finally, it devoured the ninth Tianzuan's body. Ah! The ninth Tianzuan's terrified cry was emitted from within the black light after being devoured by it. He did not expect Xiao Yin to completely ignore the powerful blood dragon attack. Bang! The blood dragon that had whistled over ruthlessly collided with Xiao Yan's body the moment the black circular light devoured the ninth Tianzuan's body. As it ruthlessly collided with Xiao Yan, a rich blood-colored light exploded in the sky. Watching the spreading blood light, which bloomed in the sky like a blood-colored sun, the expressions of Kai Lin's group on the wall changed. They had not expected Xiao Yin to endure this blow. The frightening energy contained within the blood dragon earlier was enough to kill a 6-star Do Zun on the spot. The wall had descended into a dead silence. There was still some joy from earlier, but the joy was permeated with shock at this moment. Those from the Hall of Souls always like to hide in the darkness like rats. This silence continued for over a dozen seconds as everyone's hearts sank. At this moment, a faint voice suddenly echoed across the sky. A swoosh sound appeared as almost every pair of eyes gathered in the sky. A skinny figure was stepping through the air as he slowly walked out of the spreading blood light. An earth-shaking cheer abruptly erupted from the fortress when that skinny figure appeared in front of their eyes. Who? Kai Lin and the others sighed in relief when they heard the cheers beside their ears. They had been terrified by the unexpected situation earlier. Huh. A faint exclamation rang out of the deep abyss when Xiao Yin appeared to be unharmed after receiving that attack. A countless number of people heard a splashing sound from the abyss. It appeared as though the blood was flowing within it. The sound of flowing liquid became louder in front of countless pairs of eyes. A moment later, a blood color suddenly surfaced from the deep abyss. It was a vicious scarlet sea. The viscous blood sea continued to rise from the deep abyss. It finally came to a slow halt when it was level with edges of the deep abyss. The blood sea flowed, and a completely blood-red figure slowly appeared. The figure lifted both of his scarlet eyes as he looked indifferently at Xiao Yin. A hoarse voice resounded over the sky. You are indeed worthy of being a person that the Hall Chief attaches much importance to. You do possess the ability to be proud. Xiao Yin studied that human figure below. At this moment, this person was wearing a long blood-colored robe. His long hair was scarlet in color, and his red eyes caused one's heart to feel a bloody scent spread over when they looked in one's direction. This sudden blood figure also caused many experts from the profound lion sect to be stunned. Even they were unaware that such a mysterious expert was present in their camp. What frightening strength this person has. The hearts of some experts from the Yin Alliance sank upon seeing this blood figure. Although they were unable to sense the blood figure's exact strength, it was obvious that the strength of this person was the strongest within the profound lion sect's camp. Shui Zunjia? The three Hu elders, who were battling those three experts from the Hall of Soul, had stopped because of this scene. Their eyes gravely observed that blood-colored figure as they stated in a deep voice. Shui Zunjia? Xiao Yin lifted his brow. Junior Pavilion Chief, be careful. This person is an extremely renowned expert within the Central Plains. His blood-transforming grand skill is extremely mysterious. Many top-level experts have died in his hands back then. However, he suddenly vanished, and it seems that he has joined the Hall of Souls. The eldest Hu brother spoke with a grave expression. Ha, that was a name from a long time ago. All of you can now address me as Fourth Tianzuan or perhaps Shui Tianzuan. The human figure, who was standing in the sea of blood, lifted his head and laughed in a hoarse manner when he heard the eldest Hu brother's words. Fourth Tianzuan, huh? Xiao Yin narrowed his eyes. The Hall of Souls really had many hidden experts. This person should be a peak Do Zun of the 9th star. He was only one step away from the Bansheng class. It was unexpected that the Hall of Souls would dispatch such an expert. If he had not hurried back in time, the Yin Alliance fates would have been worrying. You really act leisurely. However, you are too lazy to even rescue the life of your companion. Xiao Yin faintly laughed. He randomly waved his hand, and a corpse that had been torn until its form was altered flew out. Finally, it landed in front of the 4th Tianzuan. From the looks of it, it was the 9th Tianzuan who had been struck by the great heaven creation palm earlier. However, he had completely lost his life. It is pointless to rescue trash, who has failed many times. The 4th Tianzuan glanced at the corpse. He widened his mouth and a blood arrow shot from it. This blood arrow caused the 9th Tianzuan to turn into a pool of blood that exploded. His voice was void of any emotion as he spoke. Emotions are indeed unnecessary to you people from the Hall of Souls. Xiao Yin mockingly lifted his mouth and spoke after witnessing this scene. Ha ha, emotions should be abandoned. The 4th Tianzuan laughed when he heard Xiao Yan's words. He immediately shook his head and softly sighed. Originally, I did not wish to intervene, but that fellow is too useless and even ended up dying in your hands. Since this is the case, allow the old me to act on his behalf. The old me will bring back all the people with the blood of the Xiao clan. The sea of blood in the deep abyss suddenly shot out and formed many large blood pillars after the 4th Tianzuan's words sounded. The blood fog spread, and a dense bone-chilling aura slowly swept out in all directions from the 4th Tianzuan's body.